like for you? Obviously, coming off of playing so much last year, then battling injury and not really playing much, and now getting this opportunity.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year personally. Like you said, played a lot last year. Thought I played well. Came in here hoping to be a starter, and dealt with some injuries early on, and offense is rolling, and you kind of accept your role, and you kind of just wait till it's your turn. And unfortunately, when you're the backup, your turn is rarely in a good situation. So I've just been trying to approach every day, ready to play, and and Sunday it was my time.
So what's it like to get thrown into a game when you basically haven't played for like 3 months? And is that something you've ever gone through before in your career?
It's probably the longest I've gone without playing a game, going from game to game. Yeah, there was a little bit of nerves. There's always going to be some nerves playing in a game. I always kind of feel if you're not nervous, then maybe you're losing it a little bit. But getting that first snap, it was like, okay, it's the same thing we've been doing. So yeah, that going out there, there's a little bit of that. You've been here, you've done this. Like let's just do our thing.
So the last time we saw you, we were joking around about the look-alike thing, and that apparently stuck because like Rogers was calling you Big Dave or Big D-Bach.
Right.
So how much joking around how does that continue on? It was just so funny that you had to run it through all season? Or?
Yeah, obviously it's always good to have callbacks with humor, and Aaron and Dave have a really good relationship, and they like ribbing each other back and forth, and so I'm sure it had a little bit of that. But we have fun with it. David is David, so he has fun with it, and I don't think anyone takes themselves too seriously where it becomes an issue or anything.
What did it mean to you personally, though, like what Matt was asking you about what you've been through this season, to not only go in and do okay, but actually play well? Matt told us how well you graded out. Like, that is not an easy thing to do, and lots of guys get thrown into that position and don't do very well without the reps during the week.
Yeah. I think that's kind of just the way I've been able to have the career that I've had. I've always tried to prepare like I was a starter, and it happened in Philly, Tennessee, and now here where out of nowhere I'm going in and have to play a majority of the game, and so I've been very fortunate that I've taken that approach, and I've been able to go on in the field off the sideline and kind of not have a hiccup, not have the offense have to change their scheme or the play calling or anything like that. That's probably one of the biggest prides I take, is that we don't miss a beat if I have to go in.
Does that give you an edge with the way you play, the fact that every time you're out there you feel like you have to prove something? And to that point, do you think this team, having so many people with similar stories to you, has an edge as a team because of that?
Sure, that's a really good point. I've always thought that I could start in this league, and so whenever I get to play, I try and show that. And so that's just kind of the mindset, like I said, I've always had is if I want to be a starter, I have to behave like a starter, and that includes playing like a starter. But yeah, with the amount of injuries that we had, guys are stepping up left and right, and it's really cool to see that everyone is kind of taking these opportunities and doing well for themselves.
You started a lot of games. It's not like you're some guy. You're what, 31 years old? Is that right?
Correct.
10th year. Like you're sitting there. You're like, if I can't get on the field with these guys, maybe I'll just hang it up. Or did you ever have anything like this might be your last, your last go around if you don't get on the field with these guys?
You saying that with this
like
group of guys?
previous to playing last week, you're sitting there and you're like, if they don't want to play me, maybe I'm not going to play.
There's always going to be some thoughts that creep into your mind. Is like, well, is it because of me? Is going through the injuries? It's my body just telling me like you're probably done. And so there's always that thought. But our offensive line, I think Billy was playing really well this year, and Yash has done fantastic, and he did a great job in camp. And really, going back to the San Francisco game, he deserved that shot 100%. And so when it logically makes sense why guys are playing, it's hard to kind of get mad about that.
You've been around a long time. Just your observations of how all of these different guys have been able to gel in a variety of different roles. Just from your vantage point, what does that tell you? Is it about the guys? Is it Steno getting these guys ready? Just give me your take on how you've seen this line function in so many different combinations.
Yeah, I think it is really impressive, and I think it includes everyone that, Steno and Bucket's doing a great job making sure guys are prepared, and then the guys taking the responsibility to be prepared on their own. They always say, be a pro, but doing the things when you're at home, doing the things when no one's watching, and taking pride in your work. And I think our room does a really good job of understanding what our standard is and trying to achieve that.
So do you feel ready for what could be several weeks of playing here, and what do you think you can do with this opportunity?
Yeah. Again, the way I approach it when I have a chance is that it's my spot right now. I'm just going to play as long and as hard as I can until they tell me not to. I like to consider myself, a hard worker and on the field, and I'm going to try and protect our guys and clean piles and make sure there's no cheap hits and kind of try and do what I can to help the team.
Dennis, from a psychological standpoint, everybody always says you got to prepare like a starter. In fact, you said it earlier, right? But when you're not getting the opportunities, I would think that can, especially week after week after week, that could be a little more challenging. What's your secret to make sure that you are ready and it's not just a cliche?
That's a good question. I think part of it is I've had to do that so much throughout my career. I mean, essentially, besides last year, I've been a backup my whole career. That's really the only time I get to play. And so I guess I've seen the benefits of making sure that you're ready. And so I kind of understand. There were times, in Philly where I believe I played 3 games, 2, 3, and 4, and I didn't play the rest of the year. And so there are stretches where you're preparing. It does kind of get like, why am I going to watch this? I'm not getting in. Like, so-and-so's playing well, we're healthy. Like, no one's ever going to get hurt. But, it's football. Literally, every play something could happen. And so, you approach it week by week, and you just kind of have to reset. If you're going in not playing for 3 months, it's like, well, I'm here right now. My role is to be the backup. And that means I need to be prepared to go in right, left, guard, wherever it is, wherever they need me. That way we can get through the game.
Dennis, had you ever had a back problem before, and was that like really debilitating or frustrating to go through?
Yeah, so my second year at Philly, I ended up having a herniated disc in training camp, and so I had back surgery. And I mean, I was active, but I missed the whole year. I didn't dress once. I think that's probably why everyone thinks I'm in my 9th year, and I'm in my 10th. But yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. I was sick, probably a little dehydrated, and then it just locked up on me and just had a hard time letting go. But once it cleared up, everyone here did a fantastic job of being patient with me and working with me, and haven't had an issue since it cleared up.
So what kind of rapport did you have with LaFleur in Tennessee that he felt so confident in you that when you came in here now?
I think obviously, we were feeling each other out early on. His first year, I have a new coach, new offense, all that. I think part of it, if you go back to that year, would have been 2018. I was the opening day starter, and then I got a random virus that knocked me out for a month, a couple other injuries, and so I had to come in off the sideline during a game, played well, we ended up winning. Had to start a couple games, so it's kind of he's had experience with me coming in and not having to, like I said, change the game plan, change the play calling, do something drastic, and so perhaps that's kind of what he fell back on.